Well, hi again, everybody. Welcome to another episode of 100 Yards of Football. This is the 2026 NFL Draft Prospect Show with Joey Clinkscales, with Harper LeBel. We want to say thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you being a part of the show here today. And we're going to talk today about Kaelon Black, wide receiver out of Indiana, national champion. He had come from James Madison and a 6-year guy. He stayed in school, got his degree, worked on his game, and is now a national champion. He's not one of those guys that is going to really impress you with overall speed, size, be the number one guy that you're thinking of, but tough, gritty, athletic, strong, will do anything for you. If you're looking for a guy like that, then Kaelon Black may be one of those guys in the later rounds that's really going to impress you. So we're going to talk a little bit about him today. He's listed at 5'10". He's 210 pounds. He's out of Virginia Beach, Virginia. He goes to James Madison, right, in Virginia, hooks up with Curt Cignetti, and then transfers to Indiana. And what a difference that made. Not only just the program itself. Who's thinking that I want to go to Indiana to play football? Well, just about everybody wants to sign up and go play there now. So right place at the right time. He ends up, like we said, with the national championship. He had 186 carries this past season, Joey, for just a little over 1,000 yards, 5.6 on the average, and he had 10 touchdowns. So he's a player. You get him in front of an offensive line like that. You get him in front of a coaching staff that says, what can you do? We want to see what you can do. And then we're going to put you in a game situation where you get a chance to do that at the highest level. I think that he was able to take advantage of that in so many different ways. And now he's an NFL draft prospect.
Well, Kaelon is first and foremost a national champion from Indiana. That says something right there.
That has never been said before, right?
That's never been said before in football, that's for sure. And he's got to be tough. If he comes from Virginia Beach 757 area code, as all my friends in that area like to say 757. He's tough. I've not met a football player from Allen Iverson to Vic to Alonzo Mourning to any guy you mentioned from 757. They're tough, and he's one of those guys. He's a 757 guy. But that being said, from a skill set perspective, there are a lot of things you like, and it all starts with his toughness. Because from a skill set perspective, it's not super attractive because he's not going to run away from anybody. He's not the most elusive guy in the backfield. But what he can do is run through arm tackles. He's a smart football player. He's got good enough hands. Again, he's physical for a guy his size. I mean, when you see a guy like that, his size of 5'9", 5'10", he's probably, if you're comparing him with a back, when I've been watching the tape, the guy he reminded me of a lot was Kenneth Walker, the kid from Seattle who just won a national championship. Because I don't think he's going to make you miss. I do think he has some patience as a runner. And he's got a short burst to get outside, but he doesn't have the speed to go the distance to run away from people per se. So I think that's going to be a negative. But he runs hard. He's a high knee runner. He runs hard. He runs physical. He's not afraid of contact. So all those things play in his favor. Now, the amount of carries and contact he's had on the college level, again, being a 6-year guy, that's something that would be looked into. You would like for those guys to have a limited number of carries because if he's the bell cow in the NFL, which I don't think he will be, but you never know. You never know. He may end up being a bell cow because of injury, because of this, because of that. You just don't know. You have to be prepared when you walk in the door. But I do think he's tough enough. He's physical enough. He's got enough skills to be a productive NFL back in the right situation. I don't think his skill set will automatically say, I'm excited to take this player. I'm excited to take this player high. The skill set doesn't read like that. But the one thing you can't read, especially in running backs and in general, is a guy's heart. And he plays with a lot of heart. If you can measure his heart, no one would ever miss in the draft if you can measure a guy's heart. But you just can't. You can't measure a guy's heart. That's why you have misses at a lot of different positions.
Well, there's a lot there, Brian, obviously. What did Joey miss in terms of, some of the things that you notice about this young man that isn't repetitive? The talent level, national championship, obviously. pedigree there that he works hard, plays like a champion on Saturdays, and now you want him to do so on Sundays. We'll talk about his stats in just a moment, but what impresses you first and foremost?
Well, I read somewhere that he benches 400 plus. I don't know how true that is. I think we're going to wait for the combine, but that he's strong as an ox. This kid's fantastic. He was a 3-sport athlete, if I'm not mistaken, in high school. I think he was football, basketball, and track and field. He's just – there's nothing he does poorly, right? Obviously, you're not going to sit here and say the tape doesn't jump out at you, right? And he's not a freakish athlete, and he's not the fastest guy, but he doesn't do anything bad. And he was, the main guy on the team that won the national championship. That's a big deal. It was he had a couple really big runs in the national championship game against a very good defensive front for for Miami. He kind of opened up the game a little bit. So, it's tough to kind of gauge these kind of players because you can't really measure the heart factor. But this kid runs hard every play, right? He loves the game of football. He's strong. He's not slow by any means. And I think realistically, he's a plug and play guy because I think you can put him in any scheme. I think he'll do whatever you ask. I think the dirty work kind of stuff, you know what I mean? He's willing to stick his nose in and pick up a blitzer on 3rd and long if someone's coming in there. I think he's willing to maybe, run downfield and throw a block for a receiver or maybe for another running back. He reminded me a little bit of the build and everything Kyle Manungai, who the Bears picked up this offseason in the draft. It was kind of a similar situation. Wasn't the fastest guy, wasn't the strongest guy, but they plugged him into that scheme up there and they had him with, DeAndre Swift, and he had a tremendous rookie season, and the Bears, had a great season, as well. And part of that is because of what Kyle was able to do. So, it's kind of hard to comp these guys because, like Joey said, if you end up in the right situation and you end up the coach that believes in him and understands how to use his skill set, I think he's gonna be just fine. But it's gonna be interesting to see where he goes, where he ends up being picked in the draft, and great player, love the guy. I just a lot of variables, a lot of question marks going forward up until April.
One of the things that impresses me, Joey, in terms of his Indiana experience is everyone thinks Roman Hemby was the guy. I think Kaelon Black, and you mentioned the toughness of guys that come from the 757. I'm the guy. I didn't have as many carries, but my average per carry was higher. I had more touchdowns than the guy next to me. I had 186 carries. Hemby had 230, so 4, 5, 6 catches, attempts per game. They almost had the same amount of yards, about 80-yard difference. But the 5.6 versus the 4.9 in yards per carry, this guy plays like he's the number one guy. I love that factor in him. It's like, I don't know how long I'm going to be here, but as long as I'm playing, you're going to get the best out of me. And what do you think about that? That's kind of the thing that I like about him. And plus, you can catch the ball as well out of the backfield.
Well, anytime you in a system where you have dual backs, then guess what? You're always competing. There's always a competitive aspect. And guess what? I'm sure that was his mindset. As soon as I get my opportunity to carry the ball, whether I'm starting or whether I'm the second guy coming in, guess what? I'm going to give it my all. And again, he runs tough and physical. He can run through arm tackles. He's not shifty. He's a one cut and go guy. He's not going to be elusive. He's not making people miss. And he's not trying to make people miss. If you're there, he's trying to run through you. And those are the things you can appreciate about a back like this.
No fumbles, Brian. That's one of the things that I see. He doesn't put the ball on the ground. 186 carries this year. Last year at Indiana, it was Indiana, 46. 2023, I believe he was at James Madison at that point. He had 142 carries for the year. So, again, he's not being overused or anything like that, but you mentioned his strength. He's obviously got speed. He's obviously a contact guy, wants to hit you with the shoulders, and a run high knee type of guy. A lot of different things that are very impressive. But he's at the end of a very long list of running backs. Is that going to be a detriment?
I mean, I think so. We talked earlier about Mike Washington, who I would say is, he's a better running back, right? He just is. And I think Jeremiah Love, they're better running backs. So, you have a lot of teams, though, in the NFL now. They're going to go get their complementary piece at running back in the 5th or the 6th round. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? It's just he's going to find a home somewhere. That's why I mentioned earlier. It's just a lot of variables. It just depends on where. Running backs it's probably one of the most interchangeable positions in the sport because you got injuries. A lot of teams are going to run with 2 or 3 guys. Some guys they just go by committee. It depends. But this kid's a gamer, right? I think his last year at James Madison, he was actually a pretty good little receiver too out of the backfield. I think that's something that he didn't do a ton of at Indiana, but he showcased. There's tape that says he could do that, right? He was great in the red zone. He's got good hands. He's able to turn upfield and make something happen after the catch. Obviously the Hoosiers didn't really need him to do that as much this year, but he came in a new environment and he played really, really well, right? And especially a team last year. Indiana was not a very good football team last year, and they flipped the switch. They turned it around. I think a lot of people kind of knock how long he was in school, and that's always kind of the case. But I think you had a lot of veteran type guys, a lot of mature guys that bought into this system, that played really, really hard, did everything that were asked of them. And I think Kaelon is at the forefront of that. And that's why Indiana hoisted the national championship trophy at the end of the night, right? That's just it all, it just all culminates to that. The kid wins. He plays hard. There's not a lot, like I said, to dislike about him. I think any team's going to love to have him. It's just we'll have to wait and see depending on where he ends up.
Joey, a lot of things there that were critical factors about, what happened and how well he was able to do and who all fit everything together at Indiana to make it happen. No one cares about that in training camp, do they? Nobody. It's all nice. You may get to sing a song, or if they even haze anymore, I don't know what they do. I know you can't do anything. But his size, he's not the biggest guy, but if he can bench 400, if he can impress there, if he can play on special teams or do something like that, if he doesn't put the ball on the ground, he's going to get a chance to play and to make a club somewhere. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, he's got to prove, first of all, chances are he's not going to be a starter. So how else can you help the football team win? Are you a returner? I'm not sure he's a returner. Maybe he's done a little returning in the past, but he's going to have to figure that part out. Because if you're the third back, or maybe even the fourth back on a 53-man roster, then guess what? You have to have other jobs, and if he can't do those other jobs, then quite frankly, he's not going to make the team. So he's got to figure that part out, okay? And if he can bench 400 pounds, which looking at those arms, I'm saying if he can, he's pretty close to it because this kid's put together.
Yeah.
But you don't have to worry about his toughness. He's a tough kid. He comes from a tough background. He plays tough. He plays physical. So that part is there. The system he's in will be one of the most important factors. Okay, because we've seen more players, quarterbacks, receivers, running backs, go into the wrong system, and they're never productive. They may be productive for the second or third team once they go into a system that really fits their skill set, and our offense or defense that fits their skill set. So that'll be important. So I think this kid will be a later round draft pick. So it's important that the team that drafts him knows exactly who he is. They have a plan for him walking in the door, and you kind of go from that point on. But I do think he'll have a chance to make it because, again, I don't know his heart, but watching him on tape, it tells me that he's a tough, physical, physically strong, a strong-willed player that doesn't want to fail. I mean, he stayed in college 6 years, so he was able to get the most out of his ability. Now he's got opportunity to go to the National Football League.
Yeah, and I would think that the pedigree now is changing right before our very eyes. Brian, you've said on numerous occasions, hey, if you're a wide receiver and you just go to Ohio State, I want to draft you if I need a wide receiver, because the sample size is big enough over the past decade to realize that these guys can play. They can play at the highest level. They can play at a higher level in the NFL. They make rosters and they make big plays. I'm thinking that with the coaching being a key component of that, the discipline to be able to do things in a manner that helped your team win a national championship that had never been there before. And last year they had a great team. Don't get me wrong; they get in it, but they with 12-2, I think was their final record. This year it's 16-0. He knows how to win, or at least he's learned how. I think that's going to be a critical factor. Going into camp, just being patient, wait for your turn. Even if you're on developmental, you've made the club, right? He may not be the number one guy, but he's going to help make your roster better. Tell me where I'm wrong with any of that, Ryan.
No, I think you're correct with all that. I just, running back is an interesting position, right? Because I think it's the most undervalued position in the game. Because you're going to have a guy who's probably going to touch the football more than just about anybody else, and you're going to have multiple guys that can do it. It kind of gets overlooked because you have a ton of them. There's so many guys that play running back and they play it well. I think, when you watch what Kaelon did, kind of his growth at the collegiate level, right? He had an injury early on, and there's a lot of different things he was asked to do. And when you bounce around, it's I'm sure Cignetti would brag on him, right? Everything they asked him to do, he did. And I think going forward, I don't think that really changes. I think the work ethic, I think the ability to adapt is going to, I think it's going to suit him well at the next level, right? I think some team is going to, look at what he's able to do and say, if he can bring the work ethic, if he can bring the talent, which he has it, right? If he can, if he's able to buy into what we're doing here, there's no reason why he can't have, mirrored success like he did in college at the next level and help some team win football games on Sunday.
Kaelon Black, 5'10", about 210 pounds, big, strong young man that comes out of Indiana. Final thoughts from you, Joey, before we move on.
Yeah, I'm interesting to see where this guy ends up in the draft. Again, he's not going to – he doesn't have the home run speed. He doesn't have the great quickness. He's more of a north-south runner. He hit the first hole of the season. He goes. So it'll be interesting to see where he ends up. But I wouldn't bet against this guy not making a team because he's tough. He's physical. You can tell he loves football, and he'll do whatever it takes to help his team be successful. So I expect him to be drafted probably later in the draft, probably not an early round draft pick, probably later in the draft, 5th, 6th round in that neighborhood. But I expect him to go in and compete, and you won't have to give him a spot. He'll earn it. He's one of those kind of guys. He'll earn it.
Yeah. Final thoughts from you, Brian?
No, I agree with what Joey said. I think this kid's a hard worker. I think he's gonna do well at the next level. He may not be a superstar. He may not give you gaudy numbers, but I think he's gonna do a lot of things to help the team win football games, just like he did at Indiana.
He was a national champion at Indiana, something that's never been said before. One of the rarest things that can ever happen is to be the first, and he was a part of the ball club that did that. Second leading receiver, if you want to look at it from the number of just carries and the yardage, but certainly had a very impressive career while he was at Indiana. Now with the combine coming, and he's got a chance to get a little bit bigger, faster, stronger, he may impress some NFL scouts and make a roster and get to play at the highest level on Sunday as well. So we wish him well. Kaelon Black is the wide receiver of our feature here today on the 2026 NFL Draft Prospect Show, along with Joey Clinkscales and Brian LeBel. I'm Harper LeBel saying thanks for tuning in, everybody. If you like the show, please subscribe and tell a friend. And we appreciate everybody tuning in the way that you have. We want to